Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Naresh Mago, and with me is Renuka RS with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates 1.75 lakh houses built under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin in Madhya Pradesh. Prime Minister to dedicate to the nation 3 key projects related to petroleum sector in Bihar through video conferencing tomorrow. COVID-19 recovery rate stands at 77.77%. 18 new special passenger trains operational from today. All lines of Delhi Metro become functional. New ASEAN India Plan of Action adopted for 5 years at Ministerial meeting, and Victoria Azarenka to clash with Naomi Osaka in women's singles final at US Open tonight. Prime Minister Narendra Modi virtually inaugurated 1.75 lakh houses built under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin in 12,000 villages in Madhya Pradesh today. The Prime Minister released the Griha Pravesham plaque and inaugurated all the houses simultaneously. Speaking on this occasion, Mr. Modi said that Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana is not just about providing housing, but also about instilling confidence in the poor so that they are free of daily struggles and they can focus towards building a better future and can sleep peacefully.
ये जो योजना है वो सिर्फ मकान बनाने की योजना नहीं है, बल्कि गरीब को आत्मविश्वास देने की योजना है, ताकि वो छोटी छोटी समस्याओं जैसे घर, बिजली, पानी, ईंधन, ये रोजमर्रा की जो जद्दोजहद है ना, उससे वो बाहर निकलकर अपने काम में, अपने भविष्य के लिए, अपनी प्रगति के लिए अपना पूरा ध्यान लगा सके.
Describing PMAY Gramin as a fine example of converting crisis into opportunity, Mr. Modi informed that despite various challenges due to COVID-19, construction of 18 lakh houses has been completed in the nation, out of which 1.75 lakh houses were constructed in Madhya Pradesh itself. Instead of 125 days, work has been completed in 35 to 40 days. Elaborating on the contribution of the skilled manpower, the Prime Minister said that the speedy construction of houses has been made possible due to the contribution of our labour brethren who returned from cities and took benefit of Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Rozgar Yojana to build homes for poor people. The Prime Minister further informed that various schemes like Swachh Bharat, Manrega, Ujjwala, Saubhagya have been joined with the Poor People's Housing Scheme so that the dreams of the poor are fulfilled with the combined strength of everyone.
आपका घर बहुत कम खर्च में और बहुत कम समय में बनकर तैयार भी हो गया. सरकार ने भी गरीबों के आवास की इस योजना में एक प्रकार से इसी रीति का ही समावेश किया है. सरकार की अनेक योजनाओं को जैसे मनरेगा, सौभाग्य, उज्ज्वला, स्वच्छ भारत, ऐसी अनेक योजनाओं को गरीब के घर के साथ जोड़ दिया है ताकि सबकी ताकत से गरीब का सपना पूरा हो जाए. तो मेरी तरफ से आपको बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं हैं, आपके गांव वालों को बहुत शुभकामनाएं हैं और मेरी तरफ से विशेष बधाई है. आपने बहुत बढ़िया तरीके से घर बनाया है.
Mr. Modi also spoke with some of the beneficiaries of Dhar, Singrauli and Gwalior districts via video conferencing. The beneficiaries shared their experience of having a Pakka house with the help of the central government scheme.
आज पक्का आवास मिलने से श्रीमान मुझे बहुत लाभ हुआ है. आज मेरी समाज में प्रतिष्ठा बढ़ी है. कच्चे मकान में श्रीमान महोदय मेरी बच्ची की सर्प के काटने से मृत्यु हो गई. 24 दिन के अंतराल में मेरे बेटे की मृत्यु हो गई. हमारे ऊपर दुखों का पहाड़ टूटा श्रीमान महोदय. कुछ समय के बाद शासन के संबल से मुझे समझने का अवसर मिला. आवास के साथ समृद्ध पर्यावास की 19 योजनाओं के माध्यम से मुझे उभरने का अवसर मिला. मेरा आपसे निवेदन है, आग्रह है माननीय, मेरी धर्मपत्नी से भी जरूर बात
जरूर बताइए. क्या शुभ नाम है आपका?
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी नमस्ते. सबसे पहले हम आपको आशीर्वाद देते हैं.
धन्यवाद जी, धन्यवाद.
आपने मेरे को चूल्हा के साथ गैस दी है, मेरे को किचन बना है, मेरे को शौचालय भी दिया. मेरा आग्रह है, आपसे निवेदन है बहुत ज्यादा, मेरे घर पे आमंत्रित आए और मेरे हाथ की चाय और पोया खाएं और आप आमंत्रित स्वीकार करने का आप मेरे को हाँ या ना में जवाब दें.
चलिए, आपका निमंत्रण मेरी सर आंखों पर.
The program was broadcast live in 16,440 Gram Panchayats and 26,548 villages. Speaking on the Grave Pravesham ceremony, Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan said that today is the beginning of a new life for these families.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will dedicate to the nation 3 key projects related to the petroleum sector in Bihar through video conferencing tomorrow. The projects include the Durgapur-Banka section of the Paradeep-Haldia-Durgapur pipeline augmentation project and 2 LPG bottling plants in East Champaran and Banka. The bottling plants will empower the Atmanirbhar Bihar by meeting the rising demand for LPG in the state. LPG bottling plants in East Champaran and Banka have a combined bottling capacity of 80,000 cylinders per day. The Banka plant will serve Bhagalpur, Banka, Jamui, Araria, Kishanganj and Katihar districts in Bihar and Godda, Dihgad, Dumka, Sahibganj and Pakur districts in the neighbouring Jharkhand. Similarly, the East Champaran plant will serve over 5 lakh consumers in East and West Champaran, Muzaffarpur, Siwan, Gopalganj and Sitamarhi in Bihar and Kushinagar in Uttar Pradesh. The cost of Banka plant is 131.75 crore rupees, while that of East Champaran plant is 136.4 crore rupees. The 2 plants were envisaged under the Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana. These plants have also created direct and indirect employment opportunities for about 1,000 people in nearby rural areas. The 193-kilometer-long Durgapur-Banka pipeline section is a part of the Paradeep-Haldia-Durgapur pipeline augmentation project, for which the foundation stone was laid by the Prime Minister on 17th of February last year. Durgapur-Banka section is the extension of the existing 679-kilometer-long Paradeep-Haldia-Durgapur LPG pipeline to the new LPG bottling plant at Banka in Bihar. Power Minister R.K. Singh today inaugurated a host of community-focused facilities developed by the NTPC in Bihar. The minister inaugurated 2 community centres, Sahari and Sahanora at Bara Patna. He also inaugurated 3-kilometer-long Meh Indrapuri Barrage Road at Nabnagir, Aurangabad and the main gate complex of Kanti Bijli Utpad Nigam Limited in Bihar. The construction of these facilities and infrastructure will make the life convenient for the locals, improve access and help save travel time. While inaugurating the facilities, the minister informed that in the past 3 to 4 years, the Power Ministry has invested 11,000 crore rupees worth of initiatives for electrification in Bihar. These include substations, transmission and rural electrification projects that we see today.
The country registered the highest single-day COVID-19 recovery, with over 81,500 people returning home after successful treatment in the last 24 hours. So far, over 36,24,000 people in the country have recovered from the viral pandemic. The overall recovery rate stands at 77.77%. The Health Ministry has said that the gap between the recovered cases and active cases is progressively growing wider. More from our correspondent.
The number of recovered patients in the country has overtaken the active cases by nearly 3.8 times. Unprecedented surge in COVID recoveries with more than 100% increase in patients recovered and discharged in the past 1 month has also been reported. Health Ministry has informed that the sustained high recovery rate is fueled by 9 states and union territories reporting recovery rate of over 80%, which includes Bihar, Tamil Nadu, Delhi, West Bengal, Rajasthan and Gujarat, among others. The ministry has informed that high levels of recovery is being reported from various states and UTs, and almost 60% of the total recovered cases are pooled in by the 5 states of Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Uttar Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. The country has progressively maintained a low case fatality rate compared to the global average. Anand Chaturvedi, AIR News, Delhi.
India's first coronavirus airport testing facility was launched today at Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport. The facility at the Terminal 3 of the airport offers a walk-in option and ensures a safe journey to all the passengers entering the city or scheduled for domestic connecting flights. International passengers traveling without a valid COVID negative certificate can also book a slot in advance for testing at the airport. The test results are available within 4 to 6 hours. The Delhi airport officials confirmed to our correspondent that the test is not mandatory for international passengers, but they can opt for it to get exemption from the mandatory 7-day institutional quarantine in case they are tested negative. In Madhya Pradesh, the number of COVID-19 cases has gone up to around 85,000 after more than 2,000 new cases were reported in the past 24 hours. With 30 patients succumbing to the infection, the COVID death toll has reached 1,691. Our correspondent has filed this report.
As per the State Health Bulletin, 1,651 coronavirus patients were discharged from the hospitals in past 24 hours, taking the number of recovered cases in the state to around 64,000. There are now 18,992 active cases in Madhya Pradesh. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan has said that there is no crisis of oxygen in the state. Adequate oxygen is available. No one need to worry. Meanwhile, officials inform that necessary arrangements have already been made by the state government. Coordination is also being established with various state governments. Principal Secretary Medical Education Sanjay Shukla has been entrusted with the responsibility for monitoring the availability of oxygen in the state. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
Kerala continued to report spike in COVID-19 cases as it confirms 2,855 positive cases today. 15 more deaths were also confirmed today due to COVID, taking the death toll in the state to 425. Meanwhile, 1,944 recoveries were reported in the state. The total active cases in Kerala rose to 28,802. Mumbai's Dabbawalas, lunchbox carriers, have urged the Maharashtra government to permit them to travel in local trains which are currently running in a restricted manner in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. At present, only people employed in essential services are allowed to travel in suburban trains. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
Urging Maharashtra government to allow Dabbawalas to travel in local trains, President of Mumbai Dabbawala Association, Subhash Talekar, today said that they are also part of essential services as they deliver food to Mumbaikars. He said, since most offices are now functioning with reduced capacity, people have been asking the Dabbawalas to deliver their meals. He added that access to local trains will enable them to resume their business with full capacity. There are about 4,500 to 5,000 Dabbawalas who deliver 2 lakh tiffins every day from suburban areas to the heart of the city. Currently, Dabbawalas who can reach South Mumbai area on their cycles are able to deliver food to offices. Meanwhile, Maharashtra Minister of Food and Civil Supply and Consumer Affairs, Chhagan Bhujbal, has quarantined himself at his home as 6 officials and staff members from his department tested positive for COVID-19. Sweetie Jain, AR News, Mumbai.
In Maharashtra, Kisan Rail is becoming popular day by day with the farming community. During the present coronavirus pandemic, it has turned into a blessing for farmers of Western Maharashtra. According to a press release issued by the Central Railways, during the last month, around 1,127.67 tons of nutritious and immunity-boosting fruit, pomegranate, were transported from Western Maharashtra to Northern India. Pomegranate has an impressive nutrient profile as it contains vitamin C, vitamin K, folate and potassium, which is beneficial in fighting COVID-19. Pomegranate is being cultivated extensively in Nashik, Pune and Solapur district. Farmers availing the benefit of the cheap and the fastest mode of transport are excited and happy as the Kisan Rail is now running thrice a week. In our series, Experts Speak on All India Radio, we bring you the views of the leading medical experts on COVID-19. Talking to AIR News, Dr. Saurabh Mehrotra, consultant at Mental Health Division in Medanta Hospital, emphasized that people should indulge in positive addictions, namely reading books, music activities, exercise, including others. He said special care should be taken not to overexpose oneself to excessive COVID-related news, which leads to anxiety-related issues.
हम अपने आप को पॉजिटिव एडिक्शंस में एंगेज करें, जैसे राइटिंग, रीडिंग, क्रिएटिव आर्ट्स सच एज ड्राइंग, पेंटिंग, गार्डनिंग, इस तरीके की चीजें, दीज ऑल क्वालिफाई एज पॉजिटिव एडिक्शन. म्यूजिक, ये सब पॉजिटिव एडिक्शंस हैं. ये स्ट्रेस रिड्यूस करने में हमारा बहुत मदद करते हैं. हम सोशली कनेक्टेड रहें एक दूसरे से, टेलीफोन कॉन्वर्सेशन करें, बात करें लोगों से.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates 1.75 lakh houses built under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin in Madhya Pradesh. Prime Minister to dedicate to the nation 3 key projects related to petroleum sector in Bihar through video conferencing tomorrow. COVID-19 recovery rate stands at 77.77%. 80 new special passenger trains operational from today. All lines of Delhi Metro become functional. New ASEAN-India plan of action adopted for 5 years at Ministerial meeting. And Victoria Azarenka to clash with Naomi Osaka in women's singles final at US Open tonight. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
All India Radio presents World News. News and views from across the globe. What happened? What is up next? The newsmakers and the highlights of the day. Every day at 10:20 p.m. in the night. On 100.1 FM, All India Radio.
Railways is running 80 new special passenger trains from today. These trains will be fully reserved trains. Railways has said that all precautionary measures such as social distancing, thermal screening and wearing of face masks by passengers will be strictly followed. Our correspondent reports that booking for these trains had already started from the 10th of this month. All the lines of Delhi Metro have been opened from today. In a tweet, Delhi Metro Rail Corporation DMRC said the metro service is available from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. on all lines. It said with the resumption of service on the Airport Express line today, all lines of the Delhi Metro network are now open. The DMRC has requested passengers to follow the guidelines during travelling. The Delhi Metro had resumed its services from the 7th of this month in a calibrated manner after being shut for more than 5 months due to the coronavirus pandemic. Civil Aviation Minister Hardeep Singh Puri today said the bookings for daily flights will start by the end of September from Darbhanga to Delhi, Mumbai and Bengaluru. After reviewing the groundwork of Darbhanga Airport in Bihar, the minister informed that flight operations will begin in the first week of November before the festival of Chhath Puja. He further said that this is a boon for 22 districts of North Bihar. The minister reviewed the progress and construction status of the Darbhanga Airport. Expressing satisfaction over the progress of airport work, Mr. Puri said that the work is almost complete. He added that arrival and departure halls, check-in facility and conveyor belt have already been installed and the remaining work will be completed before October end. People expressed happiness over the announcement of flight operation from Darbhanga Airport. They said the flight services will mitigate the problems of the Mithilanchal areas of the state.
मैं अनिल कुमार झा आज इतने हर्षित हैं कि माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी के उड़ान योजना के तहत यह दरभंगा में विद्यापति एरोड्राम यहाँ से अब उड़ान लोग भरेंगे और छठ में लोग यहाँ से वापस आएंगे। इसके लिए हरदीप पुरी जी को बार बार बधाई आभार।
जी हमार नाम भेल संजीव कुमार सुधाकर, लक्ष्मी सागर साधुगाछी मोहल्ला निवासी छी। आई हम बड़ प्रसन्न छी। बहुत प्रतीक्षित हमरा सबके दरभंगा हवाई अड्डा नवंबर से 1 तक उड़ान शुरू भ जेते। बहुत अपार खुशी भ रहल है।
After reviewing the status of Devghar Airport in Jharkhand, Mr. Puri said that the work at the airport is at an advanced stage and will be completed on schedule.
The National Testing Agency NTA has announced the results of Joint Entrance Examination Main in a record time of 4 days. The test, which is the qualifying exam for appearing for the JEE Advanced, was held in the first week of September this year. 24 candidates scored 100 percentile in the JEE Main and the largest number of toppers comprising 8 candidates are from Telangana. Among the remaining toppers, 5 are from Delhi, 4 from Rajasthan, 3 from Andhra Pradesh, 2 from Haryana and 1 each from Gujarat and Maharashtra. Out of 8,41,000 registered applicants, 6,35,000 appeared for the engineering entrance test. JEE Main was postponed twice due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The examination was conducted without any glitch at 660 centres in 232 cities, including 8 centres outside the country. Since 2019, the test is being conducted twice a year. The first cycle of the entrance test this year was held in January. Our correspondent spoke to few students who appeared for JEE Mains in the first week of September and asked them about the facility at exam centres in light of COVID-19 and their future plans after the results.
मेरा नाम प्रियांक सिन्हा है और मैंने 1 साल ड्रॉप करके जेई की तैयारी करी थी। मैंने कोचिंग ली थी इंस्टीट्यूट से और तैयारी करी थी और इस बार मैंने जेई मेंस क्लियर भी करा। मेरा सेंटर पड़ा था पीतमपुरा में अभिनव पब्लिक स्कूल में। तो वहाँ बच्चों की जो संख्या थी वो तो नॉर्मल से कम थी। एक्चुअली पिछले साल से ही ये सिस्टम हो गया था कि 1 हफ्ते के अंदर अंदर तो रिजल्ट आ जाता था। अभी मेरी रैंक तो अच्छी आ गई है थोड़ी 47,000 के आसपास। तो मेरे को लगता है कि अच्छे कॉलेज में बढ़िया ब्रांच मिल जाएगी।
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today spoke to retired naval officer Madan Sharma, who was attacked by hooligans in Mumbai, and inquired about his health. In a tweet, Mr. Singh said, such attacks on ex-servicemen is completely unacceptable and deplorable. He wished him a speedy recovery. China's People's Liberation Army has handed over the 5 Arunachali youths missing from Nacho in Upper Subansiri district to the Indian Army today. More from a correspondent.
After the missing report of these youths was received, Indian Army had approached PLA on hotline to trace and return them. On September 8, response on the hotline confirmed that the missing individuals had been traced in the Chinese side. Indian Army took over the 5 individuals at KB2 today after completing all the formalities. These 5 individuals will now be quarantined for 14 days as per COVID-19 protocol and will thereafter be handed over to their family members. Rakesh Dole, Air News, Itanagar.
BJP President J.P. Nadda today held a crucial meeting with Janata Dal United President and Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar in Patna on seat sharing among the NDA alliance partners for the assembly elections in the state. The leaders of the two parties are understood to have discussed the key issue of seat sharing among alliance partners in the NDA, which also includes Ram Vilas Paswan's Lok Janshakti Party (LJP). The BJP leadership is also understood to have assured Kumar that it will intervene and iron out the differences that have of late cropped up between the JDU and the LJP on account of the belligerent stance adopted by the latter's president, Chirag Paswan. Meanwhile, BJP's election in charge for Bihar Assembly, Devendra Fadnavis, had sought to make light of the acrimony between the JDU and the LJP and remarked that nobody is going to leave the NDA, though many may join the alliance. Uttar Pradesh jumped 10 places to occupy the second spot in the country in ease of doing business, according to the recently released annual ranking. In an exclusive interview with AIR News, Additional Chief Secretary, Infrastructure and Industrial Development, Alok Kumar, said that Nivesh Mitra, a dedicated single-window system for investors, has played an important role in the improvement of ranking. He said in coming days, the portal will provide more than 200 facilities to the investors. Here is more from our correspondent.
Process of investment in the state has been fully digitalized, and now anyone sitting in his office in any part of the country or abroad can complete all the formalities with a click of his mouse. Alok Kumar, Additional Chief Secretary, Infrastructure and Industrial Development, said that Nivesh Mitra portal has been instrumental in improving ranking, and it is considered one of the best digital platforms in the country.
पहले 60 सुविधाओं से शुरू हुआ था। आज की डेट में 146 सेवाएं उसमें 20 विभागों की हैं। अगले 5-6 महीने में इस सुविधाओं की संख्या बढ़ के 200 से भी आगे निकल जाएगी। काफी सुविधाएं इस पे हुई हैं। उदाहरण के लिए अगर आपको अपनी भूमि पे मानचित्र का स्वीकृति करानी है तो आप मानचित्र भी कंप्यूटर के रूप में ही उसको पोर्टल पे अपलोड कर सकते हैं और वो नक्शा स्वीकृति भी पोर्टल से हो जाता है। आपको भूमि के लिए आवेदन करना है वो भी कर सकते हैं। आपको फायर क्लियरेंस है, तो लगभग जो भी चीजें उद्यमियों को चाहिए वो सभी पोर्टल के माध्यम से बहुत आसानी से उनको मिल जाती हैं।
Nivesh Mitra received around 230,000 no objection certificate applications, out of which it has already disposed of 94% applications to grant NOCs or licenses to entrepreneurs. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
News just in. Principal Secretary to Prime Minister Dr. P.K. Mishra today chaired a high-level review meeting to comprehensively review the COVID-19 preparedness and response. The meeting focused on evidence-based learning on management of cases across the districts and states. The meeting also discussed the stage of vaccine development and vaccine distribution plan, as well as the need for district health action plans for long-term management of various aspects of COVID. During the meeting, it was noted with satisfaction that all empowered groups have worked very hard to achieve benchmarks in COVID management.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar co-chaired the ASEAN-India Ministerial meeting today, along with his Thailand counterpart Don Pramod Vinay. The meeting was held virtually and saw the participation of foreign ministers of the 10 ASEAN member states and India. It reviewed the status of ASEAN-India strategic partnership in several areas, including maritime cooperation, connectivity, education and capacity building, and people-to-people contacts. It also reviewed the progress and implementation of the ASEAN-India Plan of Action 2016 to 2020. The meeting also reviewed the preparations for the upcoming 17th ASEAN-India Summit and also the progress in the implementation of key decisions of the leaders of ASEAN member states and India arrived at the 16th ASEAN-India Summit held in Bangkok in November 2019 and the previous summits. The new ASEAN-India Plan of Action 2021-25 was adopted at the meeting. The ministers discussed ways to strengthen cooperation to fight the COVID-19 pandemic and exchanged views on important regional and international developments. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar participated in the inaugural session of the intra-Afghan negotiations held in Doha today via video teleconference. The minister's participation was in response to an invitation extended to him by Qatar's Foreign Minister Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman bin Jassim Al Thani. In his address, Dr. Jaishankar referred to the millennia-old relationship between India and Afghanistan, which he said had withstood the test of time. He highlighted India's role as a major development partner of Afghanistan, with over 400 projects completed in all 34 provinces of Afghanistan. In US Open 2020 tennis, Belarusian Victoria Azarenka will face Japan's Naomi Osaka in summit clash of the women's single tonight. In the semi-final, Azarenka defeated Serena Williams and smashed Serena's hope for her 24th Grand Slam single title. In another semi-final, Naomi Osaka beat American Jennifer Brady. Germany's Alexander Zverev will face Austrian Dominic Thiem in the men's singles final of the tournament. Dominic Thiem advanced to his second Grand Slam final of 2020 after a win over third-seeded Russian Daniil Medvedev 6-2, 7-6, 7-6 at the US Open. Alexander Zverev has broken through to his first Grand Slam final, dismissing Pablo Carreno Busta to advance to the championship round of the 2020 US Open.
The monsoon session of Parliament is beginning from 14th September 2020. On the eve of the session, that is on the 13th of September, the News Services Division of All India Radio will bring you discussion programs on issues before Parliament and Sansad Ke Samaksh Mudde. Issues Before Parliament program can be heard on Rajdhani and FM Rainbow channels from 9:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. Sansad Ke Samaksh Mudde can be heard on the Indraprasth and FM Gold channels from 9:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi will have a partly cloudy sky. It will have minimum temperature of 27 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 38 degrees. In Mumbai, there will be a generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. The minimum temperature will be 25 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 32 degrees. Chennai will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. The temperature will hover between 26 and 34 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will witness a partly cloudy sky with one or two spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature in the metropolis will be around 27 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be 34 degrees. On to the north. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature will be 25 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while the maximum will be around 35 degrees. The city will have a mainly clear sky. In Srinagar, the minimum temperature will be around 13 degrees, while the maximum will be 30 degrees. The city will have a mainly clear sky. Ladakh will have a mainly clear sky too. The temperature will hover between 14 and 29. In Gilgit, the temperature will hover between 15 and 30. It will have a mainly clear sky. In Muzaffarabad, there will be a mainly clear sky with temperature hovering between 19 and 35. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 25 and 33 degrees Celsius. The city will experience thunderstorm with rain. In Chandigarh, there will be a partly cloudy sky with the minimum temperature and maximum at 26 and 35 degrees. And now, before we close, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates 1.75 lakh houses built under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin in Madhya Pradesh. Prime Minister to dedicate to the nation 3 key projects related to petroleum sector in Bihar through video conferencing tomorrow. COVID-19 recovery rate stands at 77.77%. 80 new special passenger trains operational from today. All lines of Delhi Metro become functional. New ASEAN-India Plan of Action adopted for 5 years at Ministerial meeting. And Victoria Azarenka to clash with Naomi Osaka in women's singles final at US Open tonight. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.